Hello, everyone, and welcome to Collateral Damage. Today is a beautiful day in the Bluegrass, and we have our Game 4, our last round of our March Madness single elimination tournament to show you all. I'm playing Thornfall Alliance, and our friend here, first time on the channel, Sean.
Hello, everybody.
He'll be joining us playing Gravediggers. So let's get into this, get going. All right, so I decided to bring Thornfall Alliance to this event. I've recently started playing pigs as a side army to my dusk that I normally play. I thought I'd give them a whirl for this event. So I've brought Carver, big melee threat, buffs his battle group real well, mobility, Pathfinder +2 speed, batten down the hatches, you name it. I've got a battle boar for infantry mulching, gun boar for harassment, as well as well-placed knockdowns, and a warhog for tearing stuff up. Targ kind of stays with the gun boar, but is beneficial for freeing up the warhog too. I've got a unit of bone grinders in there for support, as well as some random one-off charge missiles if I need them. The brigands for some mid-range threat, and then the slaughterhousers for some solid melee, hopefully rounding this off to a pretty solid list. All right, Sean, and what did you bring to play today?
So today I brought Gravediggers. My normal Storm Legion were not painted for this event, so I brought Major Alister Caine. He's one of my favorite Cygnar and Warcasters of all time, and they just had newly revamped him back to basically Caine 2. Along with him, I brought Deuce, which is kind of a given with any version of Caine ever. I brought a Valiant with a Trench Sword and a Slugfist with Aggressive, hoping to get him up the field and do some work. Then I've got Captain Argo Brock. He makes a really good shield guard to give Caine some extra defense. He's not a bad model himself either. And then, of course, you've got to bring gun mages with Caine, and with any Jack in a Gravedigger list. And then I brought the Rowdies because the Rowdies are great. They're lovely weapon masters and have a really nice toolkit. And then I had a heavy airdrop in this list as well, so that I could potentially drop in another Jack or potentially bring in that heavy weapon.
Today we rolled up close quarters for our mission. It has the standard 40 and 50 millimeter objectives in the center, and then a flag on each flank. You just score 1 point per objective, as well as scenario piece controlled. Pretty standard mission, but we are playing with some special rules, and I'll let Sean take it from here.
So we rolled up number 10 on the table, shaking morale. So when one or more models in a non-character unit suffers damage from an enemy attack, after the attack is resolved, roll a die for each model in the unit, and on that a result of 1, the model must forfeit its movement or its combat action during its turn.
Thornfall deployment. This particular mission, we want to be pretty center board. All the scenario pieces are going to be there, and his army out threats mine, so I just need to go hard, and I need to go fast, and I need to go in the center. So I center deploy my cohorts. I put the slaughterhousers on one side, and then we hold off for AD for the brigands.
Gravediggers deployment. So in this deployment, I was just trying to kind of get center as well, put Caine and Deuce there in the center so that they could take advantage of that building obstruction. Most of my army was advanced deployment, so I just had a couple things to deploy.
Thornfall, AD. I just had one unit, and it was the unit of brigands. I put them on my right flank.
Gravedigger, AD. So I put my gun mages up here and Argo to support the movement of my guys that are in normal deployment for the next round.
All right, Thornfall Alliance, turn 1. All right, I'll start this off going with Carver. I cast mobility and batten down the hatches and run forward. Pretty simple play. I was debating on batten down versus Quagmire, but with he does have threat range on stuff this early, I decided to go ahead and get it out. Then take the brigands, just run them up the board to the forest that was chosen for the flag, respectively his forest that was also chosen. And just for note, I did choose Deuce as the prey target for the brigand. Then run the Warboar up and Rile for 1. Measuring out some of the lanes, run the Battle Boar up, also Rile for 1. And then also get the Gun Boar up, and guess what? Also Rile for 1. Slaughterhouses run up, take some cover behind the boat. Then we have Targ just run up in the back there, staying near the Gun Boar, and the Bone Grinders just run up to place for good support the next turn.
Gravediggers, round 1. So here I'm moving up Caine, and he casts Blur on the Rowdies to give them defense 17. So I'm thinking that we're going to probably move those Rowdies right over here into this forest to benefit from Prowl so that they can be stealth. Hoping that they'll be able to survive, be able to take this up, run up the Valiant. Hoping that I can get him to charge next turn. I'm staying out of charge lanes right now. Kind of shimmy over Argo to kind of play shield guard. The gun mages are kind of chilling. And I'm running up Deuce.
And of course, end of round 1, 0-0, as expected. Let's see what the next round holds. Thornfall Alliance, turn 2. Alright, I pull Fury off, drop spells. Realizing he's not really giving me any charge lanes, which I expected, so I'm just going to hopefully situate everything in a position to where I'm not going to be able to get charged on this flank that's blocked by the boat. And then on the other side, I'm thinking maybe I can set up some lane blocking. This will just not give him any assassination routes, while also contesting objectives. I don't have a ton of choice here since he has the threat range he does, so I kind of have to go in and hope for the best. So the Slaughterhousers move to block that lane and just set up there next to the boat. Bone Grinders advance and grant magic weapon and eyeless sight to the Gun Boar. Then Carver will move up and cast Batten Down the Hatches. I don't really feel I need mobility for this. Then I'll take the Battle Boar, run him up to protect Carver, and then activate the Gun Boar, walk him up, trigger Counterblast, Animus to hopefully give him a little bit more defense, and then I take some shots at the Valiant. Which we did land a pretty solid hit, knockdown, and solid 7 damage to him. I have to go review. I forgot how far Targ's Ox attack action is, so I run him up and get another shot at the knockdown Valiant, but only like dinging him for another point of damage. So just to get some midboard threat position for defending that flank and blocking charge lanes, I move the Warboar up. He just runs forward, and then I activate the Brigands, and they just advance up. Because I think I can get a pretty solid CRA in, hopefully.
If you want to line up your CRA correctly, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, and ring that bell for all our latest battle reports.
So I decided just to set them up, the blocking's more important, and get just a decent 3-man CRA in. Hopefully do some damage. So it's first CRA. Reroll it. And it hits. Does 5 damage. And then the second CRA. Hits. But failed to do any damage. At that point, that's pretty much my turn too. So, just checking scoring. We'll pass it over to Cygnar. Gravediggers.
Gravediggers turn 2. So here at the beginning, I decide to let Blur drop. I'm going to need this because Caine's going to try to kill Carver. So I power up focus. I stand up the Valiant. And I decide not to allocate any focus because Caine's going to need all of that. So I kind of start out by empowering with the gun mages. I give Deuce 1 and I give 2 to the Valiant. Then I decide to drop an ammo crate. That gives him a free focus from the gun mages and 1 from the drop. So Deuce is going to aim, and he takes a shot at the gun borer. I'm thinking the gun borer's got less armor, so let's go with that one to get it out of the way, because right now my line of sight's blocked. So I get a boosted shot, I do 4 damage, and I tick that ammo crate. And then I buy another shot, and I tick that ammo crate again, and just do 1 damage. And I'm very much like, oh crap, this is not going the way I want it to. So from here, I'm just checking some lines. I'm thinking I need to get up here and contest this objective. So I run Argo up and let him take care of that. I'm just checking some ranges here to make sure that I'm contesting that point that the Warhog's on with my solo. And from there, I decide I'm going to move up these rowdies from the side here to actually score this objective, the 40. And I decide to try to do a little bit of damage. I'm thinking maybe I can make up with the rowdies some of that crappy damage I did on Deuce. So Jenkins throws a grenade and no luck. And then Franks does his double barrel, doing both barrels, and he rolls 3 damage. I got 3 damage also on Carver though with that spray, so that was kind of nice. Then I use the last guy to drop a cloud, and I have my guys repositioned behind that cloud. I didn't really do much of what I wanted to, but at least I've got that objective down. So now's the time for business with Caine. So I've got a little bit more fill in there with my rowdies. So Caine decides to walk up, and he's going to do his Caine things. So I do my feat, of course, to do those accumulative damage and to get the blasts. I also use Blessing of the Gods to give Caine an extra damage or an extra focus to shoot again. So I'm doing Heartseeker shots into the gun borer, and I'm ticking that ammo crate. So I've got 9 damage on the first shot. Then I'm hitting again with the second shot, and I kill the gun borer. So things are starting to look a little better for me. You can see I'm trying to keep good track of what's happening with these shots, because increasing damages and 17 bajillion shots on Caine is a little hard to keep track of. So I managed to kill that gun borer. It does a little splash damage. Carver ends up pulling damage off of the gun borer, which I didn't think about. That gave him a couple more transfers, and I didn't think about that because I haven't been playing the game a lot lately. So I'm paying for it. So I kind of continue down the road of all the shots with Caine. So I buy another shot and get 6 damage in. Then we have another shot for 5. We're gonna tick boxes on the next one. Again, 5 more. He starts transferring off to the war boar. I get my, I think it's something like number 6. I end up landing 14 damage, and he transfers to the war boar, which turned out really good. Number 7, I'm ticking the ammo crates here and get 11 damage, which gets transferred off to the warhog. And then I've got one last shot that does 7 damage off to the warhog. It was a really good feed turn, but I just didn't get there. And it was a little unfortunate because Caine's not doing all that lovely Caine stuff he likes to do. I think my big problem here was I should have went after the battle boar, even though it had the higher armor value. The transfers that he gained from off that gun boar when I killed it from reaving definitely is what set me back. I think I would have had him if it wasn't for the fact that I gave him 2 additional transfers to that warhog. I think that was kind of where I botched it.
Yeah, I fully expected to lose Carver there. You can see my face when you pop feet. I rub my face because I just know that it's coming unless you roll really low.
Yeah, and this is one of those things. Like it's been a long time since I've played into a hordes army or fury army, and I just kind of made that mistake of killing the one that had fury on it, and I definitely should have went after the battle boar, and he wouldn't have got those extra 2 transfers because those transfers would have probably killed Carver. I mean, my last 2 shots were 11 and 7 damage, so that should have definitely killed him. And
yeah,
that was just a mistake and thinking, oh, he's lower armor, but I just didn't think about the fact that he'd get that fury at the end. And, play more games, Sean. Play more games.
Yeah, and I hadn't even considered it till it actually happened.
All right, so end of turn 2. Will's got 1 point, and I've got 2. We're kind of controlling our respective flags, and we're contesting that 50-point marker. I'm controlling the 40 mil, but with that Caine turn not going so hot and making the mistake of choosing the gun bore, I'm not sure how this turn's looking for me.
And honestly, I was surprised that I lived through it. So let's see if I can take advantage of this opportunity I've been given. Thornfall Alliance, turn 3. All right, so no upkeeps, and I decide to use Old Faithful. Heal up a bit. I'm thinking I need to free up the objectives and then go for the assassination if the opportunity presents itself. It's going to depend on how I get some rolls here. So with the Bone Grinders, I do just walk up and use their healing ability and heal a few D3 or a couple D3 on Carver and 1 on the War Boar, freeing up their systems as well as giving me a little bit more comfortable room in case this fails on Carver, and hopefully I wouldn't give him another opportunity to assassinate. Carver walks up, casts mobility, casts primal on the battle board. Okay, that's the primal. And some of this movement, we were proxying some of the things, so you will see some bases or something move around here. Some things get laid out. It's mostly finding out what angles I need for future assassination. Carver walks up, starts swinging, puts a little bit of damage on Argo with his gun and his sword. Buys an attack and finishes him off. But honestly, the swings with Carver there were pretty bad, and he didn't really accomplish much. Then with the War Boar, I move into Valorant. Hopefully I can clear him off this. Get some solid hits with the first one being 10 damage. Followed by a couple more hits with each initial. With Carver's feet, it's pretty easy to mulch through things in melee.
It was a bit depressing that you didn't even have to buy an attack on my Valiant.
Yeah, the damage could be pretty wild. But it accomplished what I needed, so after some proxying, we had to switch some bases out for proxy bases. And pre-measuring the movement, we were able to get all of the remaining brigands lined up into a CRA into Caine to hopefully finish him off. And get a hit.
Of course, I have no focus to transfer.
Roll the exact damage I need.
Yep, put me to bed pretty good. Caine's awesome, but man, you leave him out there in the wind with no focus on him, he dies to a stiff breeze.
Yeah, I was a little surprised it turned out the way it did. I didn't really have high hopes going into this battle, but I'm happy to be here. But you put up a good game, and I honestly expected to get assassinated.
Well, it was a good game. I had a lot of fun. I definitely made the mistake of choosing the wrong pig to shoot out of the way. But good lesson learned. Don't kill the thing that gives the warlock more transfers. Definitely won't be making that mistake again if I don't have to.
For sure.
But it was fun. It was good times. I hadn't really played into Thornfall, so that was a lot of fun. We played some 50-point duel games for some practice for Adepticon for some friends, but I'd not really played into them. So it was cool seeing what they could do. The pigs are pretty cool looking. That Warhog under his feet was insane. He just mulched my Valiant. So
and I've been listening to videos of Caine 4, so I was kind of dreading what to expect here, but getting to dip my toes in the fight name a little bit and not on a 100-point game, it's giving me hopefully a little bit of edge in the future. But I guess thank everybody for joining us here for a great battle report. Hopefully we see you all again in the second round of the event.